Shri Jawhar Sircar, your time is 5 minutes. 5 minutes.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Jethmalani before me has described lies as lies, big lies or white lies, and statistics. There is a fourth category of lie that I would like to bring to your attention.
Mr. Sircar, 1 second.
Sir?
Lie is not allowed in
Okay.
Parliament.
Modified, sir. But to the extent that I would like my friends in the House on both sides to be aware of the realities. They keep talking about GDP growth. I'll not contest it because it's too complicated for many to understand. But what does GDP growth mean where I am concerned and you are concerned? And that is per capita GDP, per person GDP. The GDP of Ambani and the GDP of Adani does not matter to me. On per capita GDP, we just had the G20 meeting, and there we made a calculation that the US has $63,000 by way of their per capita GDP. Australia has 61,000. Indonesia has $4,000 plus per person. And India is the lowest, I repeat, the lowest among the group that has just $2,085 per GDP. So look at realism. Don't go in for bravado and bragging. When you talk of GDP, you must remember that you are taking the wealth of the upper 5% to inflate your figures. I'm just giving an example of how the upper crust has increased its wealth. The Ambani wealth was 1.6 lakh crores in 2014. I repeat, 1.6 lakh crores in 2014. It is 8.6 lakh crores today, 5 times more. Please show me an Indian who has grown his income in the last 9 years by 5 times before you make further statements. Adani's went up from 1.2 lakh crore. This is more phenomenal, but I will not get into the details. 1.2 lakh crores, they have gone up to 6 lakh crores plus, which is again another 5 times growth. No Indian has ever gone through this growth during the last 9 years. So do not take credit for enriching the oligarchs. Do not take credit for enriching and fattening the capitalist class and then say, we grew as a whole. Now look at your reality. World Bank's unemployment figure. I'm quoting for the World Bank because most Indians and foreigners have given up on Indian statistics. It is so punctuated with untruths. Now, the World Bank's 2022 unemployment rate shows that India is 23.2%, 23% unemployment. Compare it with Pakistan, a failed state. Pakistan is 11%, less than half. Compare it with Bangladesh. Once upon a time, a basket case. Bangladesh is 12.9, 13%, and we are 23%. Sharam se doobna chahiye sabko. Bhutan is 14.9%. So where are the realities that you are drumming about GDP and becoming the 4th biggest and 3rd biggest in the world? Come to reality. The annual survey of industries is pointing out that we are steadily moving towards contractual labor. We are turning a rightful, respectful wage earner into a product that is at the mercy of the employer insofar as labor, timing, and everything is concerned. I come to the labor participation ratio. The labor participation ratio, the labor minister was here but doesn't seem to be too unduly interested. The LFPR, the labor force participation ratio in India, is one of the worst in the world. I repeat, at the cost of perjury, one of the worst in the world. It was 42 to 45% was the rate of unemployment, participation of labor. That means the vast majority were outside the network of labor. Mercifully, it has gone up to 50% now. 50%, but look at the other countries. Nepal, 83%. Nepal is able to provide a labor force participation of 83%. Again, Bangladesh, twice more. China, 60%. So what are we talking about? I am talking, this one is of course relates to the female labor participation ratio, where I repeat the figures. India is only 20.5%, Nepal 83%, Bangladesh 30+%, China 60%, and even Sri Lanka, that was on the verge of collapse, they have a female labor participation ratio of 1.5 times ours. When it comes to male and female combined, we have been between 42 and 45% through the entire regime of the last 9 years. I repeat, 42 to 45%, one of the lowest in the world. It has just gone up to 50%, just gone up. We look at gender gap. Jebi already mentioned about the gender gap. I repeat, compare the gender gap of India at 28% with double that in Bangladesh. She also mentioned about the rising debt. I repeat, debt is increasing at a phenomenal rate, and we are binding future generations, your grandsons, your sons, my sons and my grandsons, to a debt that we are not entitled to.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Sircar.
To
Your
GDP
time
ratio.
is over.
Yet, sir, one moment. It's
No,
a debt
1
to
minute
GDP
I have
ratio
already given to you.
has come to almost 90%. Sir, just one last word on defaulters, on banks, just one word. We were coming around to the banks, defaults of the banks, and there, yesterday's figure, that's why I'm giving it to the House, is 14.5 lakh crores have been written off. Dr. Karad is sitting there. He insists that writing off means nothing, but I insist that writing off is actually the legitimization of the destruction of your funds and my funds kept in the bank. The corporate sector,
Sorry,
sir, I repeat before the House, and I can give the
speaker.
calculation, thanks to the cooperation, thanks to the transparent reply given by Dr. Karad and others, the corporate sector alone has liquidated 10 lakh crores in 9 years. 10 lakh crores has gone down the drain to save the corporate sector, whereas Narega, there was a minister somewhere here who alone has destroyed one state. The poor of the state, curse him morning and evening, curse him morning and evening.